Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope you all are doing good. And I hope you all got to see my video that I did earlier this afternoon. If not, check it out. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic. That, yeah, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old got red flagged in Michigan within the past year. And now we're finding out that it's not just the person that gets red flagged. When a person gets red flagged, they come in and take the guns from the whole household. I'm going to get into it a little more in depth and also hear what all of you have to say about this. So shout out to everyone who's watching live tonight. I do watch all of the live chat on replay, and also all of you who are the replay crew who like to watch on replay throughout the weekend or the next week. It's good to see all of you. Now, there are some more Michigan Second Amendment bills, including some gun control and a couple actual positive bills. So we're going to go over those. And then we do have a goal tonight, which I appreciate if we could get there. If we get 5 super chats, I will do a live viewer Q&A. But before we get into all of this, I want to thank all of you for the many ways you help support the channel. Thank you to all of my YouTube channel members. You guys get a little green insignia on your name here, as well as unique emojis and access to some bonus content. So make sure you check out that members portion of the community tab and whatnot, as well as videos on the channel. Also, same thing to my Patreon supporters. I appreciate all of you, and I also upload extra content there, as well as Locals, which is a different site, censorship-free, where I do a weekly live stream where I can touch guns live because we can do that cool stuff over there, as well as their sister site that rhymes with fumble. Look, we all know the name of it. The link's down in the description, but the Ghost of Susan Wiki got a hold of me and said they don't like that site too much. So now I just mess with them and mispronounce it on purpose. Also, I'm posting censorship-free over on X as well as Myriad Social, which is not only a censorship-free site, but it's uncensorable since it is on the blockchain. And thank you to all of you who have left me super chats in the past and whoever may be thinking about leaving one tonight. Also, I received a super thanks earlier from Rescue Squirrel on my video. I wanted to give you a shout out. And I also want to give a shout out to Little Seven, who left me a Cash App while I was live last weekend, and I didn't see it till afterwards. So thank you to you guys. I want to make sure you guys do know that I appreciate it. And I've been to Lansing, Michigan twice in the last week. You guys are my sponsors. You didn't hear an ad read at the beginning of this video, and the little bit you guys chip in, whatever you can do helps, and we'll see what we can do to help with the Second Amendment together. Now, a lot of you live in Michigan. Let me know if you live in Michigan in the chat. And a lot of you don't, but this should bother everybody, whether it directly affects you or could affect you later. It should bother you that this is even possible in the United States of America, because the United States has a constitution, and it literally says so itself that it's the supreme law of the land. We also have very early Supreme Court precedent, Marbury v. Madison, 1803, that says all laws that are repugnant to the Constitution, those are void. We also have the first 10 times that the Constitution was amended. It's the Bill of Rights. And we're going to go over this together tonight because apparently people don't really want to talk about the Bill of Rights much anymore. Often in courts, you don't really hear it discussed either. Apparently a lot of the legislators in the United States, and especially in Michigan, either don't understand this or maybe they completely despise it. Let me know what you think. Is it that these people don't understand? They don't understand that our rights are endowed by our Creator. That's what Thomas Jefferson said, July 4th, 1776. So do they just not get that, or do they actually get it? And they just hate America, and they want to completely and utterly destroy this country. Look, this is why I do these streams, and this is why we all need to stand together. Because if we don't stand together, we're all going to hang separately. And we have to fight like hell to make sure this never, ever, ever becomes a communist country. Because you can certainly vote your way into communism, but you can't vote your way out of it. And America is like one of the last countries in the whole world where we have a constitution that says the right to keep and bear arms, it shall not be infringed. And that's the supreme law of the land. And that's it. And we should be able to end the stream right now. And we shouldn't even have to have a two-way Edu channel. Now, I'm glad we do. And I'm glad we are hanging out together because I've gotten to meet a lot of good people. And look, this is really important that we all know that there are other good people out there. You're not alone. You're not the only one that gets it. So for that reason, I am glad there's the 2A Edu channel. But if you know what I mean, we shouldn't need a channel called 2A Edu. It's literally the supreme law of the land. All laws that are repugnant to the Constitution, those are supposed to be void. But yeah, here we are. And red flag laws, look, they're gun control, but they're way more than just that. They not only violate the Second Amendment, but we're going to walk through the Bill of Rights together because it's a great document. Don't you guys enjoy reading the Bill of Rights? I do. Look, these are prohibitions on government. The Founding Fathers did not grant your rights. And they should never, ever, ever be allowed to infringe upon them or put hurdles in the way. All of you must believe in some form of a creator, right? I know there's probably different religions in this chat tonight. I'm a Christian, and I know a lot of you are, but some of you aren't. But at the same time, there couldn't possibly be anyone who believes that the governor of Michigan, do you remember her? She'd like to offer you communion. Yeah, these people are sick. These are not good people. Does anyone think she gave you your rights if you live in Michigan? Probably not. Now, let's just go with the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. A lot of people in Florida really like him. Boy, I sure wish he was the governor of Michigan right now, don't you? Did he give you your rights? No. Neither did George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or Alexander Hamilton or James Madison or Ben Franklin or John Hancock or any of the founders. I sure wish they were running the country right now. I know you do too. But no. Whoever you believe created you, whatever was the reason why you're able to live here on earth, why you were created, why you were born, that's who's going to be able to take away your rights on this earth when you leave. Because there's really only two things that are certain in life. You're born and then you're going to die. But while we're here, we need to try to make this world a better place. And that's what the Founding Fathers did in the United States of America. They wrote a constitution that limited the government, that gave a very narrow scope of powers. Only the powers that would be delegated to it by the people. See, it talks about how all men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. Then it goes on and says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Do you consent? Do you want to be governed by a tyrannical government? I don't. But like I've said so often, and I want to remind all of you of this, because I know a lot of you get this, but a lot of your friends don't actually. Look, there's 10 million people who live in the state of Michigan, and it's hard to get more than a couple dozen to a Second Amendment rally. It's hard to get hardly anybody to call their reps and state senators and try to actually like effectuate some type of change. So clearly, a lot of people don't get it, because there's two types of consent. You can outwardly consent and say, yes, I want these gun control laws. I support red flag laws. I support safe storage, so-called. I support universal registries and background checks. I fully support and beg for the jackboot of the government on my neck, keeping me down. And here's what's really, really sick and really, really sad. About half the people in the state of Michigan actually want that. Isn't that crazy? But somewhere around half actually do. Then there's the other half, and look, not you, but a lot of people you know, I guarantee you fall under this. There's the other type that just sit by and passively consent. Because if you don't say anything, and you don't do anything, and you don't talk about this, and you don't demand that your public servants, look, these people work for you, they work for me. If you don't demand that they follow the Constitution, then you just sit back and you just do nothing, then you're also consenting. And it comes down to what this has always been about, currently is, and always will be. This is a battle of good versus evil. And evil always prevails when good men do nothing. So I want to encourage all of you that we need to actually do something. Now, some of you are going to be better at doing things than others. Some of you might be able to talk about it better than me, and that's great. I hope you do. Please do. Some of you have a hard time of thinking maybe of what to say, or you don't have time to research all this stuff. And that's why I'm here, to try to motivate all of you and to try to give you encouragement and hang out and try to have as much fun as we can, because there is some cool stuff going on. And I'd like to share all of that with all of you as well. I see we have some super chats coming in. I'm going to read these real quick. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about, yeah, like this is totally crazy. Like, I'll tell you guys one thing. I can't stand it when a YouTuber does clickbait titles. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? And look, some people that I really like otherwise do clickbait titles, and I don't really watch their videos. Like, I don't even know if I would click on my video if it wasn't me that created it when I read something like 6-year-old gets red flagged. Like, that literally sounds insane, but that just shows you what's going on right now with some of these people, because that's actually true. But wait, there's more. There's an 8-year-old that gets red flagged and a 12-year-old that got red flagged, but it's also for the whole house now, and what the implications are of this. And it's definitely a Second Amendment issue, but it's so much more than that. Let's get into some of this stuff in just 1 minute. But I want to read these chats, so thank you guys while you're still here. John Crump Live, a channel member and a super chat. Thanks, man. He says, I'll start it off. Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being such a longtime channel supporter and a good friend of the channel. John Crump is a friend of mine, and shout out to the John Crump Live channel. Dale, what's happening, man? A longtime channel member sending in a 556. Well, thank you for the super chat, dude. And he said it's the weekend. Yeah, I know. It's the weekend, and yeah, man, it's snowing again in Michigan right now. Go figure. I mean, not like a lot. It's literally just a dusting, but it's snowing again. Sunday it's supposed to be 50, and Monday it's supposed to be 60. Wow. Jeez, oh Pete. It's crazy, isn't it? John Q. Public, channel member and a super chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. He says, what is going to happen with executive order by President Trump concerning the infringements on our national Second Amendment rights in Michigan on 9 March? Well, actually, yeah, the 2 days from now is when Pam Bondi, she's the attorney general. Look, I'm hoping she's changed, whether because she did philosophically, which would be the preferred way I would hope she would have changed. If not, maybe just due to political pressure, due to whatever. I hope she's changed her stance on red flag laws, and I hope she can clearly execute the directive that President Trump gave her, which is, look, it's not the answer. It's not the end all be all, guys. Trust me. But it is like a step in the right direction. I'll just say that. And that's why I was encouraged. Look, does it mean I give Trump a pass on the stuff he's done in the past? No, but with this new election, I said, look, guys, I got to look at this objectively. Let's see what he does. In this term, he did do that executive order. And look, I get comments like this all the time from certain people that'll say, this executive order Trump signed doesn't take care of everything, therefore it means nothing. Well, sure, and I understand why people are blackpilled. I truly do. Look how much doom and gloom we have. But that's actually not exactly the case. So something can be an improvement and a step in the right direction. Look, we've had major gun control for almost 100 years in the United States. It's called the National Firearms Act of 1934. People have been complacent. And not me, not you, but just we the people generally, right? Our peers, our fellow citizens have been so complacent for the last 100 years. Stuff's been getting piled on us a little bit at a time, then sometimes a lot at a time, a little bit more, then a lot more. It waxes and it wanes, but the thing is, you can't literally reverse everything in one day, but you have to start stopping things first, stop the backwards motion, then you start moving forward. And hopefully we can do the same thing in the opposite way that the left has done to try to take away our abilities, our freedoms to exercise our natural God-given rights. So yeah, let's see, man. I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I'm watching for. And let's hope that Pam Bondi does what the president ordered her to do. And yeah, I'm sure you're keeping a close eye on it as well. Cat T Armor. With a generous $49.99 super chat. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Says, keep it up. We're down in Charlotte, so you're a little bit warmer there. Now, there is a Charlotte, Michigan, or are you talking from down south? I want to go to, speaking of the South, I want to go to South Carolina here in a couple weeks. I'm seeing what I can do. I'm like 50-50. I'm going to go through all the funds and see if I can make that trip possible. PSA The Gathering event is in Columbia, South Carolina. So thank you. I really appreciate the super chat. We also have, geez, I was going to get into this story, but you guys are giving me so many super chats. I'm having a hard time getting there. But I like your chats, and I definitely appreciate all of the support, and hopefully you guys can see I'm putting it to good use. I try to show pictures to you guys when I'm in Lansing. I recorded a really good video, by the way, yesterday with Michigan Representative Jim DeSena. I had meant to publish that earlier today, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, no, I need to set the stage and let people know how bad these red flag laws have truly become. Like, we knew these were going to be the worst thing ever, but now they're actually even worse than that. Because sometimes people need to realize like how bad something is before they get eager to try to correct it. So you're going to see a video from me and Michigan Representative Jim DeSena. We recorded it in Lansing on scene, and stay tuned for that. I will have that posted sometime in the afternoon tomorrow. Carson Cruz with a super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. Says TAE, Verner's, Ginger Ale, Alkaline. Michigan old school. Man, I've been a baseball fan my whole life. Alkaline. Wow. Heck yeah, man. I'll give you a real quick Alkaline story. When I was younger, you know, I've always been a fan of the Detroit Tigers. I don't really watch baseball much anymore. See, here's what happened. When all of the sports went woke, you guys know what I mean? They all kind of went woke. I kind of became disenchanted with sports, and it's been hard for me to really get back into it, you know, since then. And whatever, but growing up as a kid all the way through until that Kung flu hit 2020, a lot of things changed, and I watched it my whole life. Years ago, which Al Kaline is now deceased, he's a Hall of Fame baseball player for anyone that doesn't know, one of the best of all time. When I was younger, I sent him a baseball card, and I mailed it in the mail to him, and he autographed it and sent it back to me, which I thought was pretty cool. QD, what's happening, man? Nice to see you, dude. A long-time channel member, as well as a very generous $100 super chat. Wow, man, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And I have a gift I'm going to give QD tonight, guys. I actually have 3 things that I picked up while I was in Lansing. We're going to give one to QD, and I'm going to give 2 more things away to 2 more of you tonight. We'll see if he likes it or not. We'll troll him with it in just a minute, a little bit, but no, it is actually a heartfelt gift. I got you, QD. Thank you for the super chat, man. He says, no one make any. Quote, why didn't we repeal the 19th Amendment like we did with prohibition and other ideas that didn't work? Jokes, just saying. Some people are master clickbaiters, though. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, if some of these previous amendments, look, I'm not a fan of all of the amendments that have been passed. Trust me. And I've talked about this before on the channel. The first 10, the Bill of Rights, those are awesome. Those are literally part of the fundamentals of the United States of America and what makes America different than other countries in the world. Some of the other amendments we passed, 13th Amendment, go read it, guys. Like, literally, everybody's like, oh, well that freed the slaves. And that would be awesome if it actually did that, but it didn't. The 13th Amendment actually makes it where everybody's potentially a slave in the United States. Actually, no, I'm being serious. Couple that with the income tax, which was not part of the founding of this country, and basically you're under duress if you don't pay your taxes. You can wind up in jail, and then once you're incarcerated, you can actually be a slave. Wow. So the amendment that was supposed to have set the slaves free actually didn't end slavery in this country at all. It actually made it where potentially everybody is, and many people still are. Think about that for a minute. Also getting rid of the direct election of senators. Women's suffrage. Shout out to all the women watching. You guys are awesome. But look, like a lot of my based friends that are women, you know, my wife, we've talked about this stuff. Like, I'm just saying, something to chew on. If women didn't vote, you do know that we would literally have like a Republican, conservative supermajority throughout the whole United States. I think they said all of the states but one, actually. Like, literally, like all the states but one in this whole country would be bright red through and through. Not that I like the red versus blue paradigm, and I'm not even into the political parties. I actually can't stand that we have two political parties. I'm just saying that would be the case. And let me know what you all think about that. Cutie says I was just kidding. No, it's something to think about, though. It's actually true if you look at it. A lot of women I've been talking to lately are like, well, you know, maybe we should repeal the 19th Amendment. Women have been telling me this lately. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to start problems with the women watching. I love all the beautiful women that watch the 2A Edu channel. Trust me. Okay, Michigan, 15 minutes on I-69. All right. Shout out, man. So like somewhere like, Imlay City area-ish, maybe? Or am I looking at the wrong direction here? I don't know. I know how to get to Lansing and home and to my shop, and that's about the only places I go in Michigan. But I do know there's a Charlotte, Michigan. All right. So thank you guys, and we will do a viewer Q&A here in just a little bit because lots of channel sponsorship tonight. 48813. Right on, man. So, red flag laws. They call these take the guns first, then due process. But that's literally no due process at all. And they 100% violate almost the whole entire Bill of Rights. They violate the Second Amendment. Let's go through all of them together because they actually violate literally almost all of it, as well as the 14th Amendment. Now, keep in mind, Michigan Rep. DeSanta. Oh, it's south of Lansing. I'm thinking of the wrong way. I was thinking of Interstate like 53 over there. Gotcha. Just south of Lansing. Cool. Good area, guys. You'd think I should know this stuff, but like I said, I'm too busy being a nerd over this Second Amendment stuff to know where I am. I'm like, where am I? What's going on? What are they trying to flag today, right? I don't know. Shout out to all the women watching the channel. I'm just saying, though, seriously, it's actually a thing. It's true, right? Hold on a minute. I'm going to give you guys a little teaser real quick, and then we're going to go over this wonderful document called the Bill of Rights. So I went to Lansing, and I said, well, do you guys remember I showed the poster and then the book of the poster was Camel Law. I don't know how to pronounce their names. They don't even know how to pronounce their own names. And then I said, who are you guys a bigger fan of, here or there? Well, we're not going to make you go through all that tonight, all right? But I did go to Lansing, and I talked to Representative Steve Carra. He's an awesome pro-Second Amendment rep. Like, if you look at his voting record, this is one of the good ones. Some of you might recognize him. Let me know if anybody knows Representative Steve Carra. Now, the governor of Michigan wrote a book, and it was called True Gretchen. All right? I literally bought this book with my own money, and I'm about to give it away to one of my good friends on here. So this is not like an ad read, whatever. But Steve Carra wrote a book. This is available on Amazon. And his is called True Gretchen. Now, this is a parody by Steve Carra. So True Gretchen is her writing like her biography or whatever. Who knows who wrote it for her, but whatever. This is written from the voice of Gretchen Whitmer, if you will. Like, it's written like it's an autobiography. However, it's a parody. So whereas she's crowing about herself, saying how awesome she is and how good she did and how she handled everything perfectly in Michigan, or you can only imagine what a book called True Gretchen would be about. Steve Carra writes a parody where it's actually a pretty good book. My friend Frank has let me borrow his copy. So I went into his office to talk about the Second Amendment and Michigan House Bills 4138, 4139, and 4140, which is red flag repeal. I said, look, man, I already know how you're going to vote. And then thank you, because I already know he's going to vote to pass red flag repeal. Steve Carra is one of the good ones. Representative Steve Carra is one of the good ones. I said, but here, I'm going to ask you for a little bit more. And he's like, what's that? I'm like, can you try to gin up as much support within your caucus as you possibly can? Because at this point, we need the Republican-controlled House to pass this. just to let all of us know where they stand, to put the pressure on the Democrat-controlled Senate. Look, the Democrats only have a 1-seat majority in the Michigan Senate right now. Literally 1 seat. There's going to be a special election soon for the other vacant seat. One of the Democrats went to the United States Congress. Some of you may have heard about that. We could have a tied Michigan Senate soon. So there's lots of stuff. Okay? Lots of stuff that could happen here. But these red flag repeals are very, very important, guys. And let me know. I need some viewer input. Let me know in the live chat or on replay in the comments, please. Do I need to sit down and do like a 8 to 10 minute video? It's probably about how long it would take, showing people how to contact their state representative. I can show you guys how to contact the senators as well. This being a House bill, we're going to focus on the state reps. Would that help people? Would that help that you could share it with friends? Do you need some help learning how to do that? Because we really need to get behind this. So I was in there talking to Representative Carra about that topic. And I said, by the way, I'd like to buy a couple books off of you. So I did. I paid him for them. And one of them is to replace the one that I'm borrowing. I'm going to give that back to my friend, right? And the other one, I am going to give to QD. So hopefully you'll like this book. All jokes aside, I know you don't like Gretchen, but this is a book you would want to read if you don't like her. And I did have the representative, who's the author of the book. He did sign it for you there. So I will get that sent out to you. So there you go. Hopefully you like it. Representative Steve Carra. I don't know if I can say what it's going to be about yet, but he did give me a teaser when I was in his office. There's going to be a new parody book coming out that's going to be about somebody else that a lot of you probably don't like so much in Michigan. I'll just leave it at that. So stay tuned. He's going to have another book. And I love this stuff. This is like, culture war stuff. And look, we are in a culture war, and politics has always been downstream from culture. Yeah, signed, Derek Cooper says. And signed and bought directly from the representative himself. Like, literally went up to Lansing, saw him, talked to him, and then after we were done with our conversation, I bought the book. Sound cool? I think somebody said that Steve is their representative. Okay, look, here's the other thing that I want you guys to do. All right, let's all do this together. Like, seriously, this can be fun. I know it can be as fun as we want to make it be, right? Why don't you call Representative Carra's office Monday, Scott, and say, I really appreciate what you're doing for the Second Amendment. Because look, we need to rag on the ones that are doing a bad job. For sure. Call them out. Call them up out in the public eye. Let them know everything reprehensible they're doing. Absolutely. That's what I'm encouraging you all to do. The ones that need a little bit of encouragement, well, we need to do that too. That's why we need to contact all these reps about the red flag repeal bills. And then there's a third category that are just rock stars on the 2A. They're going to vote how we want them to every single time. Let me know what you guys think. But I think we should every once in a while get a hold of them too and let them know we appreciate it. Because, man, you should hear some of the voicemails these people get. I'm not going to say who it was, but one of the Michigan reps literally sent me a copy, an audio recording of a voicemail they got today. And this was from an anti-gunner. And this was not so good. Whew. Sometimes people say 2A EDU. You need to be a little more polite about the governor of Michigan. And I'm like, a little more polite? And then other people say, well, actually, you were a bit too polite. But let me tell you this. We try to be polite and as always have a very family-friendly channel here because I want young people to be able to hear about the Second Amendment and get involved because it's theirs to save too. But so they said 2A EDU, you need to be a little more polite, someone told me. And I'm like, well, I'm being very polite, actually. But this person that called this representative, wow, you should hear some of these. From Moms Demand Action. Moms Demand Action, all right. You should see these people. You won't be so surprised why they're demanding action so much, if you know what I mean. We can look at demand action in many different ways here, if you know what I'm saying. But look, this person was not nice at all. I'm like, wow, maybe that one viewer last week was being correct when they said, yeah, 2AEDU, you were being too polite. I think I am being too polite sometimes. You know what I mean? When you hear what some of these people say, and this is a very pro Second Amendment rep, someone who I really like a lot, and you should hear the hateful, nasty things these people say to these people. Like, it's crazy, man. It's not nice at all. So, heck yeah, let's get into Cat T Armor. Are you still in the chat tonight? So I'm going to give away two more things here. I'm going to give away one of them right now. I have a couple of these postcards. I didn't take the pictures, but they are beautiful pictures. And look, there's a lot of good people who live in Michigan too. There's a lot of evil people in the capital, but there are good people who go there, and people like me and hopefully people like you. But there's one thing that's for certain, despite all of this craziness, beautiful building. Hopefully you all saw my YouTube community post. I guess it's just called post now on YouTube. I posted it over on Facebook and X as well. I took a couple pictures from the inside, and then they have these postcards there in the visitor center. So I grabbed a couple of them, and I will personalize one of these to you, Cat T Armor. So let me know which one you want, and then I'm going to put the email address down here in the chat. Just email. I'm going to send that right here for you. And if we don't have your address, if we've never sent you anything before, then make sure you include your address if you would like one, and I will send that right out to you. Okay. All right. Just posted that in the chat. Let me know. And who else is from Michigan tonight here in the chat? And I will definitely, I'm going to give away one more of these in just a second here. I'm just reading some of the chat laughing. Wait, QD. Wow. Coming in with another generous super chat. Wow, man. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. And he just simply says, another $100. Wow. Thank you. He says, I wasn't kidding. Well, look, man. I mean, I'm not kidding either. Look, do we honestly have any snowflake women watching right now? I want the women to chime in. Let me know. Look, I've thought about the 19th Amendment a lot. I actually have. And then some of these conservative women I'm friends with, and they come up to me and they're like, you know what? You know, like all 50 states would be flipped, right? And Michigan and all this. I'm like, whoa, the governor of Michigan? I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Thanks, QD. I thought I saw you say you were just kidding earlier. He was not kidding, guys. Maybe he was. I don't know. QD coming in a third time. Wow, dude. The hat trick tonight. That's crazy, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And he says, seriously. Okay, so he is serious. Seriously, why have we not repealed the 19th Amendment? Let us know, guys, in the chat. Let's have a conversation about it. It is an interesting topic. I will just say that. Besides the Second Amendment, it's one of the amendments I've studied the most lately for some reason or another. I'm not sure. Not sure why I have been, but oh, here we go. Speaking of good-looking conservative women in the chat, my friend Jane Locke, member for 12 months. What's happening, Jane? With the member super chat. Hold on a minute. She says most women are paralyzed from the neck on up. Wow. Ooh. I thought you were being spicy, QD. Wow. Sit down just for a minute, QD. Okay, him and Jane are, wow, you guys are tag teaming that. Wow. Jeez. No, I told you guys, I'm being dead serious. A lot of the women have come and been telling me stuff like this. What's happening, Rescue Nut? Thanks for the super thanks earlier on the video that I did. I appreciate it, man. Where are you guys from? Macomb County? All right. Hey, some of you guys might have a representative named Donnie Steele. All right. You know, there's a couple of them that voted for gun control last term that are Republicans that I'm having high hopes for. Look, when I say I have high hopes for, it's not that I'm naive. It's not that I trust, but maybe she could use some friendly encouragement right now with some of these things. You know what I mean? With the Second Amendment, just reach out to her. You know, don't be mean to her. That's not going to do anything. I'm just saying. All right. She could probably use some encouragement. There's some people within the category of really need some encouragement right now to do the right thing for the Second Amendment. Garland Gilchrist is trying to become governor. Wow. Wow. Whew. All right, we're going to read the Bill of Rights in 1 second. Sorry I get sidetracked, guys. There's just so many good people in the chat right now. Midwest Logger, what's happening, man? Busting out some scripture, which I like a lot. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot in the Bible on this topic, too. There really is. And Colin L just came in with one more super chat. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate it, man. He says, moving back to Marquette County. All right. Yeah, so when the UP, you've got, look, there's a lot of rural areas up there. Lots of conservatives. More guns than we even want to know. I mean, we want to, look, there's no such thing as too many guns. More than we want to know, meaning we don't want to know where they're all at. The government should never know where they're at. But lots of guns in the UP. You've got Marquette, you've got Escanaba. You know what I mean? Those aren't so much as far as, they're on the liberal side of things for sure. But other than that, dude, an 8-year-old was red flagged in the UP. And then they came for the whole house's guns. Wow. Isn't that insane? He says, moving back to Marquette County in mid-April, I got properties to look after. Got my old job back. Okay, nice, man. Be on a route with a mower and a trimmer for work. Well, I know that work very well. I do. It's nice work. I don't mind doing it. I do landscaping. For anyone that's new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you here. I'm a landscaper. I do snow removal in the winter. What's up, JJ Rainey? Nice to see you, man. Look, we need to get this red flag repeal to committee first, and then get it passed through the Republican-controlled House. And then if the Republicans can just get their messaging right, this is very, very important. Any Michigan reps that may be watching right now, shout out, because some of them do actually watch this channel, believe it or not. It's like this. You pass it through the House, get your messaging correct. That's the most important part of all. And then see if we can get that Senate and governorship flipped here real quick, because there are more elections coming. So a red flag laws. Let's go through the Bill of Rights, which is an awesome document. And are you guys in the mood to talk about the Bill of Rights for a minute? Dude, there's literally nothing more than I'd love to do on a Friday night than talk about the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. This is what America's supposed to be. Amendment number 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Now, I would say that red flag laws actually violate the First Amendment. Now, it might not be the first one you think of, but it actually does abridge the First Amendment, because now you have to consider all these different people, would have standing to red flag you. There's another bill I'm going to give you a little teaser on in a minute that I think says that all people 60 years and older and all like disabled people will be able to red flag you too if this new bill goes through. Don't let me forget about that. I have it right over there. But even under the current red flag laws that we have right now, there's so many people that have standing. It could be your ex-husband, your ex-wife, somebody you went on a date with like last year or 50 years ago. Wow. Anyone you've ever co-inhabited with, like lived with or whatever, like they slept on the couch one night and now they can red flag you. Family members, the government themselves, schools, mental health professionals, the police. All these people can red flag you, so you might be afraid to talk about the fact that you own a gun. You might be afraid to talk about many things. You might be afraid you're going to get some Karen ticked off, some mom that's demanding action. Have you seen some of these people? You won't be surprised why they call themselves moms demand action if you saw some of them. These are not good-looking people on the inside or out, trust me. But you might be afraid to talk freely in real life on the internet. So I would say that it actually restricts your First Amendment. Second Amendment, well, that's obvious. They're literally taking guns and seizing them, which clearly would violate a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If they confiscate, that violates keep and obviously violates bear, because you can't bear something that you don't have anymore. Third Amendment might be the only one this doesn't apply to, really, but no soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Now, this is police coming into your house, or whether you want them to or not. They're like, we're here for the gun, sir. If you don't mind, you know they do it. We can do this two ways. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. And that's if you're lucky enough that they're even to talk at all. You're like, well, I'm thinking about making it a little bit hard. You're thinking to yourself, right? You remember that Charlton Heston speech that he did years ago, and he said, you can take my guns from my cold dead hands, and you're watching reruns of that on TV, and you're like, well, I'm thinking about it's not going to be so easy. And then you look out the window and you're like, wow, there's 65 squad cars in my driveway, 3 helicopters, people dressed up in suits coming down into the trees. I mean, look, in some cases you're like, well, somebody just put in like the power overwhelming cheat code. You look outside and there's like, you're seeing like MRAPs and tanks. And look, we have a highly militarized police in this country, literally becoming more militarized every day. But you know what I mean? Some of them might say, well, we're coming in the home, sir, and you're just going to hand over all your guns. We can do this the easy or the hard way. And you're like, from my cold dead hands. Whoa, you might think. There's like 300 of them out there. One of them's got a tank, and then you'll make your own decisions. Who knows what'll happen? I'm afraid not good stuff could happen. Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Oh, red flag laws literally violate all of this. And think about the fact that, okay, so a 6-year-old makes a threat at school. An 8-year-old makes a threat at school. A 12-year-old. Allegedly. Allegations of a threat, right? They come into the home. This is not you being free from unreasonable searches and seizures. This is not complying with no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. And it says describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So think about this. The 6-year-old gets red flagged and they don't even have any guns. So then they come to the home and they take the guns from all of the people that live in the home. This could be older siblings. This could be mom, dad, maybe your uncle staying at your house for a bit, whoever. It doesn't matter. They take all of the guns from the home. So it's not even just the person that had the extreme risk protection order taken out on them. It's everybody in there. Now, as bad as red flag laws are, did you know that Michigan's is literally that bad now? I don't even remember it being this bad when it was passed, but here's the problem. They passed these laws. Then, just like we see in the government, remember the ATF? They'll take the National Firearms Act. They'll take the Gun Control Act. I hope we can say, do you remember the ATF soon? They need to be abolished and gone. Completely unconstitutional organization. It shouldn't be allowed to exist at all. The only way to reform it is just to get rid of it, if you want my opinion. But the ATF does this on the federal level. They'll say, well, we now interpret the National Firearms Act to mean this when it literally says something that's the opposite. We have that going on here in Michigan too. They promulgate bureaucratic rules by unelected people to make these laws actually worse the longer that they're out there. Right? Amendment number 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. Now, this is the very important part. This is the part that red flag completely negates from the Fifth Amendment, which is supposed to be the supreme law of the land. Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So what they'll tell you is it's called take the guns first, then due process. But that's no due process at all because they can't take. You cannot be deprived of your life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This is literally insane, but let's continue. Sixth Amendment. And all criminal prosecutions. Now I'm going to stop right there because here's what they think is their fancy little loophole. And this makes red flag laws even more sinister and even more unconstitutional. It's technically a civil proceeding. Which if you hear of it real quick, you're like, oh, well, that's a good thing. Civil doesn't sound as bad as criminal. No, it's actually worse than that. And you're getting screwed way worse that it's a civil proceeding because the Sixth Amendment talks about criminal prosecutions. So they're going to say, well, the red flag's just civil. They're going to come in and take your guns. Okay. And in many times, often, they have what's called an ex parte hearing, which is going to violate, as we read further, the Constitution even further. You don't get legal counsel. You don't get a lawyer appointed to you if you can't afford it. Ex parte hearing means only one party's involved. You're excluded from it. So you're flagged and you don't even know it. You don't even know it till all of a sudden the cops are at your house. And Officer Friendly knocks and he's like, I mean, right? Conservatives, Republicans always back the blue, remember? Look, I hope any good cops watching this that you won't do it, that you haven't done it, that you'll never do it. But look, so you've got your thin blue line in the flag in the front yard. You're good to go. You come up with your MAGA hat on. You'd think you'd be good to go with the police. I mean, Trump wants to give them complete immunity and make it the death penalty if somebody does something to a cop, but not for you. And overfund. I mean, so you're good to go, right? You've got your thin blue line flag and you've got your MAGA hat. So you walk up to the door and Officer Friendly standing there. You're like, oh, good to see you there, Officer Friendly. How's it going? Do you need me to come out and assist you in changing an old lady's tire? And he's like, no, we don't do that. Oh, well, what do you need help with? Well, we're here for your gun, sir. And then he gives you the, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. You're like, well, not so easy, sir. Then he just gives the head nod and you look back and you're like, whoa, wow, the United States military is in my front yard. No, it's just your local PD. They just have militarized, state-of-the-art, army equipment that they use. Not a big deal. But look, this is called civil, meaning you don't get to face your accuser. You don't get a jury of your peers. Okay, you don't get to have your own attorney ahead of time to put forth exculpatory evidence. Basically, you're supposed to be presumed innocent, right? Unless they can prove beyond any reasonable doubt that you're guilty. No, this isn't like that at all. Actually, it's a way lesser standard. You don't get to go in and tell your side of the story at all. You don't get to say this was just a misunderstanding or she lies. Of course she's scorned. Look how scorned she is. I wouldn't give her what she wanted. Now she's part of mom's demand action. She's demanding so much action that she red flagged me because my new wife's much prettier and much smarter than her. I mean, keep in mind, an ex-wife could be pretty scorned, right? You don't get to say any of that. They just take all the guns and then you get to go back and you get to petition on your own dime and try to fight to get your guns back. Maybe they threw them in a pile in the front yard. Maybe they threw them in the back of a pickup truck and let them bounce down the road, and you're sitting there like, wow, that's my whole life savings. Cherished family heirlooms, collector's items. Maybe they're broken, maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to sit there every day while they're holding them and oil them all down and keep them in a climate-controlled environment, but probably not. They'll probably stack them like cordwood and throw them in a unheated, unclimate-controlled pole barn somewhere, sitting on the concrete. Maybe if you're lucky, the rats will only poop all over them rather than chewing all the wood up. I mean, you get the picture, right? But here's the kicker. If you violate the red flag, then it becomes criminal real quick. Violate once, you go to jail for a while. Violate again, you go to jail for a long, long time. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. And look, man, people that are following the Constitution and honoring your oath, law enforcement out there, I'm good with you if you're honoring your oath. You can't honor your oath, though, and do a red flag at the same time. Those are completely incoherent to each other, right? But I know I do have some cops, some deputies, that watch, and you guys are like, dude, I don't do this, and I won't do this. Good, thank you. That's your job, and you need to do that and not follow unconstitutional orders. But we'll go back to this, the Sixth Amendment. In criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. No, this is an ex parte hearing, a red flag. You don't even know about it till you've already been found guilty with lesser standard, by the way. It's not the beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just if it's a little more likely that he's bad than he is good, we'll just take him and err on the safe side. That's essentially the burden of proof to get red flagged. The accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. Wow, this would be a great country to live in. Could you guys imagine a country that had this at the supreme law of the land? Like, man, I would love to move there so much. If you guys can find me one that would have this, just look at this. This is actually literally what's supposed to make America different than the rest of the world right here. By an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. But with Michigan red flag laws, they can actually judge shop all the way around to find a judge anywhere that'll give it. This is violating like every word of this. Which district shall have been previously ascertained by law and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. So you're supposed to be informed of the nature and cause of whatever you're accused of. This is very important. You don't get this with red flag orders. To be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor. You get no witnesses before they come take your guns. And to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. You get no assistance of counsel with a red flag yet again. Wow. Whew. Amendment 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20. Who has a gun collection that's less than $20? Anybody? I mean, maybe. Maybe some of you are thrifty shoppers. I have a feeling there's a thrifty shopper out there that's like, man, I have a big gun collection and it's less than $20. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, here we go. Look at our friends here from QD sleeping on the couch tonight. Pillows already there. Wow. QD, my man, what's happening? You don't know that for a fact, do you? No. Say it ain't so. I like you, but I can't. I don't know. We'll see here. Yeah. Amendment number 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20. Here we go. Hold on a minute. Hello from Dixie. What's happening? There's our friend Joseph Pacetti. How you doing, man? Shout out to the South. Shout out to the Deep South. Dixie Highway is actually a road, like that goes through my part of Michigan, by the way. You know, it's not as cool as the actual South, but hey, man, what's happening, dude? How you doing, man? Me and him ran into each other on like a totally separate channel, didn't we? It was cool seeing you, and good to see you over here, man. And I appreciate you being a long-time supporter of the channel. How you doing, Joe? You hanging in there, man? I hope you're hanging in there. I'm praying for you, buddy. I really am. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. In no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Well, dude, the Second Amendment is as common law as it gets. The right of the people to keep and bear arms, it shall not be infringed. And by the way, you don't get a jury trial if you're red flagged. Like literally, this is insane. I can't even believe it. But hold on, I gotta get up. I gotta catch up on some of this gossip here real quick. Hold on a minute. Let's see, where are we at here? Okay. Hold on a minute. Cutie's correcting the record here. Dude, thank you again for another generous super chat, man. I really appreciate you, dude. And I'm sure the whole channel appreciates it because now we can afford to go to Lansing more and do more advocating for the Second Amendment. Another $100 super chat. Thanks so much. He says, I actually said, nobody make those kind of jokes, Jane. LOL. I love you guys. Jane, you causing trouble? Ooh, Jane's about to get in big trouble, actually. Ooh. Jane, be nice. Be nice now. You guys let me know. There's more of you in here than me, and I'm reading through the Bill of Rights, and make sure everybody's being in line in the chat tonight. You know what I mean? You minding your manners, Jane? Yeah. Let me know, QD. Let me know if these women are being in line in the chat tonight. John Q. Public with another super chat and a channel member. Thanks, John Q. Public. I appreciate it. He says, is a Michigan compiled law, okay, like 750, so this would be like MCL 750.227 supersede the Second Amendment preemption plus the Supreme Clause and the Michigan Constitution Article 1, Clause 6. We're going to get to that in just 1 minute. I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually going to be germane in like the next 30 seconds. Well, maybe a couple minutes because too many good people keep giving me chats tonight. Oh, thank you. Piketty just came in with a $2 super sticker. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And I can't show the actual sticker itself on here because of the way the StreamYard app works, but I hope the rest of you enjoy the super sticker that he left in the chat on your end. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. So look. Amendment number 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. I think that's pretty cruel to take somebody's guns. Like, all of their guns. But here's the crazy part. The 6-year-old gets red flagged. Look, we're not going to read this article again. Don't think this is the same as the last video. I wanted to bring it up, and this is kind of like the in-depth, the philosophical. We get to talk about mom's demand a little bit more tonight. You know what I mean? I saw someone in the chat earlier said, where are all these moms that are demanding action at? I don't know. Maybe, you probably don't want to find these people. These are not good looking people. Trust me. So now we are going to get to exactly what John Q. Public just brings up and what we need to talk about all the time. Let's look at the next two. We're going to get to this 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment, very powerful. The 9th Amendment. Does anyone know what the 9th Amendment says? It's one that, again, it doesn't get quite the glory the Second Amendment does, but it's actually one of my favorites. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. What that essentially means is the Founding Fathers chose to write a few of them down that were very, very important. Telling the government, don't tread on me, shall not be infringed. Congress shall make no law. Look, these are all prohibitions on government. You have your natural rights that were endowed by your creator. And that's so beautiful that the founding government actually acknowledged that and realized that. Look, we may be smarter than most of the politicians nowadays. Let's just be honest. But people like Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and many others 250 years ago, these were pretty smart people. And these were people that were inspired by a divine providence. These people got their strength from God, and they knew that we had to live by a certain moral code in this country. And that was discussed a lot at the founding. Now, I always talk about how the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It literally says so itself. It's called the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution. Now, are we supposed to be this one big behemoth, one, unit government? No, we're supposed to be these United States of America. We're supposed to be, we're states. It's called federalism, where states have more powers, generally speaking, than the United States would, but the ultimate power is supposed to reside in we the people. Now, here's something I want you to think about, because people always call the 10th Amendment the States' Rights Amendment. No, it's actually not the States' Rights Amendment at all. And we're going to read it in 1 second. But there are no such thing as states' rights. There's no such thing as federal government rights. There's no city rights. There's no township rights, no county rights. There's powers that are delegated by the people, because only people have rights. Now, your state representative has rights in their personal capacity because they're a person. But the Michigan House of Representatives, the group, the authority, has no rights. They serve at the privilege and the will of the people. That's why they're called public servants, and we need to never forget that. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, that's in the Declaration of Independence. So we're talking about powers. We're not talking about rights, and those are two totally different things. Powers can be delegated. Powers can be granted. They can be taken away. A right is inherent. A right pre-exists any form of government. And you keep that right as long as you're on this earth. I want you all to think about that. So let's read the 10th Amendment. And this is going to yet again prove that all gun control is unconstitutional. I mean, the Second Amendment, obviously. Now, keep in mind the 14th Amendment incorporates the Bill of Rights into the states. So keep that in mind. 14th Amendment says many things. There's 3 main sections of it, actually. But it says, no. This is not just for the federal government. The Bill of Rights, okay, that also applies to everybody in the whole country, to states. No matter how local you get to the government, this always applies. I gave you the Cliff Notes version of it. But all these professors from Harvard and Yale, they don't even know how to read anymore. They can't even understand that a 5th grader can. So I'm doing my best. Amendment number 10, the powers. See, not rights. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So I'm just going to throw that up there so you guys can take a good look. Pause it if you need to think about it. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Now, there's very few delegated powers in the Constitution, actually. And that's why states are, as a whole, supposed to have more powers over the people that live in the state's day-to-day lives. And it's supposed to branch all the way down to the local form of government. But ultimately, the power is supposed to be retained by we the people. So if it was not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, then, yeah, all the states would be able to make laws that concerned people's firearms, people's knives. It's just arms, period. It's knives. It's a warship. It's whatever. The founding fathers did have warships, by the way. Okay, there were privately owned warships that would go out and actually fight battles. They were called letters of marque and other provisions they would use to get them to go out and actually hunt down enemies and fight with privately owned warships and cannons. Yes, the Second Amendment is about guns, but it's about all arms, including knives, including many other things. So if the Constitution didn't mention anything about the right to keep and bear arms, then we'd live in another country, wouldn't we? Yeah. But the Second Amendment, we all know it well. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So no, that doesn't get delegated to the states, actually. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively. The issue of arms is not is not delegated to the states, because right here in the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, that's a beautiful thing, because it not only tells you what, but it tells you why. The what is the right of the people to keep and bear arms. It shall not be infringed. Why? Because we want to be free, don't we? We want to be secure. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. And that well-regulated militia is not the United States Armed Services. And thank you for all of you who did serve or are serving. God bless all of you that are veterans and active service. But this is talking about something different than that. This is not the armed services. This is not the National Guard. The well-regulated militia is supposed to be a well-armed, formidable force that's composed of people just like you and people just like me. And because of that reason, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, it shall not be infringed. And that is the supreme law of the land. And the 10th Amendment makes it very clear that these powers are not delegated to states. So yes, Michigan having Article 1, Section 6, that notwithstanding, no states can pass any gun control laws at all, and neither can the federal government. And I'll say how I started this stream. There shouldn't have to be a channel called 2A EDU. Yeah. What was your message, Jane? Shoot it out there, and I will read what your message was going to be if you could have left it. I'm going to read some chat for a second here, and then I'm going to go over a couple other House bills that I noticed are going on in Lansing. And I can actually tell you about one that hasn't been published yet, because I ran into one of the reps face-to-face in the hallway of one of the buildings there. So I can tell you one that's coming up and give you a little sneak preview. QD gifted 10 2A EDU memberships. Well, thanks, man. I'm sure the 10 of you have thanked QD, and now you guys get access to some extra content, emojis, and you can look cool in the chat or whatever, right? See, QD is so cool, he makes other people look cool. You know what I mean? Colin L with another super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, I got bad half, bro. My mom's ex-husband, I'm worried about moving back and losing my late dad's guns. My first 22 from my dad. Oh, man, that's like super sentimental, too. I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Like, I remember literally going out on the front porch shooting that single shot 22 that my dad still has. I'm not going to say had, still does. I'm very thankful that my father is still with us. And yeah, man. You know, so, yeah, that sucks. A little Glenfield, like Model 60. It's a little single shot. I think it's a Model 60. It's a little single shot bolt action 22. My first AR-15, my dad's hunting rifle. Those guns mean a lot to me. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know a lot of you do. Well, I wish you luck. I hope everything works out good where your mom's ex-husband, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the situation is exactly, but good luck with it. Mike McClune, what's happening, Mike? How you doing, man? Member for 44 months. Wow, that's a long time. I appreciate it. He says, good evening, everybody. And he was throwing up some of the 2A EDU emojis there. Rescue not coming in supporting the channel again. Thank you. I appreciate it. Channel member, super chat. Says, coffee on me. Yeah, man, I need some coffee soon, actually, thinking about these red flag laws. Woo. What was that girl's name in the chat earlier tonight, Rescue? Now, was her name Leah? I'm trying to think here. Is she being nice to QD? Hold on a minute. Is everyone keeping close tabs on these girls in this chat? I mean, shout out to the lovely women who watch the channel. You're awesome. Lots of love to you, but make sure these women in here aren't being bullies. Somebody said QD is on the couch. Wow, dude. Oh, here she is. Hello, darling. I like her, but I don't so much when she says he's... I'm trying to be nice. No, I like you guys. Jane Locke, what's happening? How you doing? She's like, whoa, they just blow through the door. I don't even need to know the context for that. I already know what that means. That's called, do you want to do this the hard way? Well, not so much, right? I mean, we try to joke, but this is not a joking matter either. This stuff's crazy. Fun to learn. What's happening? Fun to learn. How you doing, man? Thank you for being such a long-time channel supporter. He's coming in with the super chat. Wow, I like this actually. He says QD stands for quality dude. You know what? That is a good acronym. I think that is what that means. He says, thank you, 2AEDU. Well, you're welcome, man, and thanks for the super chat. QD's not even going to remember this, but like I remember when I first saw him in my YouTube channel, probably like 3-4 years ago now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, QD's in the chat. Well, nice to see you, man. This has been years ago, seriously. And I'm like, QD, what's that stand for? Like quick disconnect? Like he's got QD attachments for his AR? And even to this day, that's what I thought QD stood for. And now I realize it stands for quality dude. So thank you. I appreciate it, man. No, you're right, Ben. No, you got it, man. He says if a gun owner backs up something to look at the big picture, it's the erosion of all our rights are being attacked. Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight, actually. And then I'm getting sidetracked by all these nice people in the chat tonight. We've got... Okay, hold on a minute. Somebody said, wow, Minuteman said women. I've been listening, but now you got my attention. Dude, there's some pretty good looking women that watch the 2AEDU channel. There always has been. Trust me. Jane will tell you about it. What's happening, Jane? Jane left a super chat for 556 and a channel member. Well, thank you, Jane. Remember, I had to have Pillbox Bunker authenticate. I said, is this the real Jane Locke? She's kind of doing the old, well, I mean, Ted Nugent. She's kind of like this where you can see her hair. I'm like, is that Jane for real? Dude, Jane almost punched me one time, guys. Can you believe that? Wow. I'm lucky she didn't because I'm still here. I wouldn't want to mess with her too much. I'll tell you guys that. She's nice. She is. Jane's a really nice person and a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want her to punch me full. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't want to mess with her too much. But it cut off your message. So throw your message out there and I will definitely read it. That's what her message is going to be, okay? She was going to come in and say, I almost punched 2AEDU once. I can't even remember what I said. I think I made some kind of sarcastic joke to her. And she said, you, and I said, whoa, okay, never mind. Never mind. We don't want to fight right now. Cutie says, I'm good. So my girlfriend beats me to death for making 19th Amendment jokes. No, a rescue squirrel's got your back. I put him on the case. See? Yeah, I mean, we don't want to... Oh, here's the thing, darling. Just don't beat him too bad, okay? I mean, you can beat him up a little bit. I totally understand that. If she wants to beat you up a little bit, QD, I'll vouch for her on that. But just not too much, all right? I'm being fair. I think I'm being fair. JJ Rainey says, Jane has always been nice and kind anytime I've met and talked to her. Heck yeah. Old 2A Warrior, where's he at? Is he in the chat tonight? Some of these lightweights go to bed earlier. Are you being a lightweight 2A Warrior? He was showing a picture on the 2A EDU Facebook group one time earlier, 2-3 days ago? He's getting some more tires up there at the old Pillbox Bunker range. We didn't do a 2A EDU hangout last fall for the supporters, but that's just because we've rescheduled it, and hopefully we can get a date going soon where some of you guys will be able to come in and hang out again in real life. See, somebody thought I made it up, didn't they? Like, you can't make this stuff up, and I wouldn't want to either. She says, I did almost punch 2A EDU. It's true. What more can you say? See, Rescue Nut, see, got your back. Oh, yeah. It's all good. Well, hold on a minute. Colin L says, I slept on the couch once with that joke. Let's see what he says here. Oh, every person is nice when they're sleeping. Well, yeah. I don't know, though. What do you guys think about the governor of Michigan? Is she nice when she's sleeping? I mean, ooh. Yeah, this is not good. What's happening, Mike? How you doing, man? Yeah, we've done like a 2A EDU hangout like 3 years in a row where we invite like the channel supporters to get together and hang out, shoot some guns, have some food, just like fellowship and being cool with each other. And last fall, just due to a couple reasons, we did need to reschedule that, but I will let you guys know as soon as I can get that figured out. And I need to talk to the good old Pillbox Bunker. Is he in the chat tonight, by the way? Good old Pillbox Bunker. He's a good one, too. I like that guy. John Q. Public with another super chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thanks again. He says, how does the 2A community get these inferior court judges and prosecutors to adhere to text and historical tradition of firearms regulations and brewing? It's like, yeah, they're literally just completely ignoring the Bruin decision. They're completely ignoring the Second Amendment and the whole Bill of Rights, obviously. There was actually Supreme Court was on the ballot just this last election. Did you guys know that? Trump took the whole country and the state of Michigan by a landslide. The Michigan House of Representatives flipped Republican. Okay. And then the Michigan Supreme Court went even more liberal. Andrew Fink, he was a great Second Amendment supporting representative too. Really smart guy, nice guy. Now, I will say Jennifer Wirtz, who ended up running for his seat that he vacated, she's a good one too, and I like her a lot. Stay tuned. I'm going to post a video with me and her when I was at the Capitol last week. I just had to get this red flag law crammed in there. I still have my video compilation ready to post here in the next day or two from when I went to the state of the state. So we're talking good ones coming in some cases, replacing, but man, yeah, he ran for the Supreme Court and a couple of conservatives did and lost badly. I don't know how that works, man. Michigan's weird, dude. Like, Trump wins Michigan, and then the Michigan House flips. Again, it's this whole red-blue paradigm that I reject, and I don't like political parties at all. I'm being serious. But you have to talk in common parlance because that's how things are looked. Like, we flip the state to red, to blue. It's just, ugh. It reminds me of, like, the Crips and Bloods, like this reds versus blues, but whatever. I just use words because that's all we have to choose from. But the Republicans did flip the House, but then like the Supreme Court goes even way more liberal. Michigan Supreme Court is like about as left as it can possibly get. I guess people just don't really care too much, or they don't want to vote for state Supreme Court justices, I guess. I don't know how that works. Is someone like, I'll vote for Donald Trump? All right. Now I'll vote for well, I'll tell you who I voted for. My favorite state representative, Jamie Thompson. I'll vote for Jamie Thompson. Representative Thompson did get my vote. And then I'll go down a little bit further and be like, But maybe I'll go Alyssa Slotkin for the Senate. Maybe I would, I didn't. I'm just wondering if this is what goes through people's heads. I'll go her for that. We'll get a nice little bit of CIA in the Senate here. We always need more CIA in the country, somebody might think. And then they're going through and they're like, all right, Supreme Court justice. Yeah, we'll go liberal on that too. We want to get Michigan to the left of Mao there. And then in the end, I'll come back and yeah, my United States representative, Tim Walberg. I'll vote for Republican there. Is that seriously what people do? Or is it like someone just walks in, they're like, all right, Donald Trump, I know who that is. The rest of them, Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo. No, I can't even make this up. This is actually a true story. Somebody told me in real life. They're like, I go in there and I vote for President Trump. They actually said for President Donald J. Trump. I'm like, good. I didn't know there was another Donald Trump, but they corrected me. I said, you voted for Donald Trump? They said, no, I voted for Donald J. Trump. I'm like, whoo. At least you didn't vote for like Donald No J. Trump. But let me finish my story. So they're going through. I'm like, who did you vote for state rep? They're like, what's that? I'm like, what do you mean, what's that? Who'd you vote for this? And they're like, well, for Michigan Senate, I voted for, I can't even remember now. And I'm like, well, the Michigan Senate wasn't even on the last ballot. The Michigan State Senate was not. I promise you it wasn't. And then I said, well, how'd you vote for these people? And they're like, well, it came down to this. A couple of them I went with my gut. I'm like, all right. A couple of them I went with whatever name sounded better. I'm like, okay. And then when it came down to some of the other ones, like Supreme Court, it doesn't show a party affiliation. They don't run as Republicans or Democrats. Now, if you pay attention to their platform, to their campaign, in the case of like Andrew Fink, you would see his voting record as a former Michigan legislator. You can get a pretty good idea where they might stand. And I say might because people can change sometimes for the better, or they can often change for the worse. But you know what I'm saying? You could educate yourself on it. But it's not going to tell you a party. So you can't just do that blue-red thing. So you get down to Supreme Court. I'm like, what do you do for those? And they literally told me, they said, well, I start off with the top and I go, Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo. I'm like, that's it. They're like, no. Here's how the rest of it goes. So I didn't know how the rest of it went, but they said, Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. I'm like, wow. They're like, nope, I'm not done yet. I'm much more thorough on how I research my candidates than that. I'm like, you're more thorough than that? And they're like, yep. If he hollers, let him go. Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo. I'm like, you consider that a thorough way to vote for the Supreme Court? They're like, dude, I was thorough. I did all 3 verses of it. I'm like, ugh. And here's the sad part, actually. That's true. That's actually true. How many people do that? Do they get the old coin flip out? I don't know. I don't know how this happens, but it happens a lot, man, especially in this state. Way more than you'd ever even think it does. Has anyone done that before? Don't fess up in this chat. I'm just saying, just think to yourself. Does anyone you know ever gone in there and they do the Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo? Like, I didn't even remember all 3 verses of it till somebody just told me. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, QD? Need more ammo? Well, I mean, that's not a good question to ask a guy like me. You're going to say I don't need more ammo? I always need more ammo, but Cutie was like super, super generous and donated a bunch of ammo to the last Cutie hangout. So I would never ask you for ammo, Cutie. Do I need? Well, no, I do want to finish burning that AK down if it's even possible. I don't think there has been a special election yet because there's a seat that's just now getting vacated too. I'll have to check on that. I've been so buried in all of the Second Amendment stuff, but I'm talking about the Supreme Court that was on the actual ballot recently. This last fall, last November. The presidential election ballot, as people like to call it. I thought I saw my friend Frank in here earlier, and he was giving me a hard time. What's happening, Frank? I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, I think he's giving me a hard time a little bit. That's good, though. We'll let him give me a hard time because I know where he works. I'll find him, and I'll rough him up. You know what I mean? Some of these people, they give me a hard time. I'm like, I know where they're at. We'll go rough them up afterwards. Okay. Well, they don't put their political party, John Q. Public, on the ballot, is what I'm trying to say, do they? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, a lot of judges, like lower judges, yeah, you're right. They will have nobody. If there's nobody running against them, then I guess it doesn't matter how you vote. Unless there was a concerted writing campaign. Sometimes you will see somebody like putting up campaign signs saying, write me in for this. So that is a somewhat rare exception, although I've seen it before. Unless there's an active writing campaign for whatever. See, some offices it would depend on. There's different ones. So I'm not necessarily saying for judge, but for any ballot spot, if they're running unopposed, yeah, I mean, you could vote for them. You could not vote for them. You could write in Mickey Mouse. It doesn't really matter, right? Unless there's an active write-in campaign. And sometimes people do become a precinct delegate from a write-in campaign. You could become a precinct delegate in some instances in your area by collecting like just a handful of votes. I'm not even joking. That's how few people run in many cases. What's happening, Randy Smith? Nice to see you, man. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in here. I am going to do some Q&A. We did reach our super chat goal tonight by a lot. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. Missy Old Tourist Tower. Yeah, that's over there in the other room now. That's over in the other room right now. Reaching to the roof. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bigger roof over there in the other part, right? So there is going to be no special election. See, I knew there was a controversy about it. Gretchen gets to appoint someone until the term's up. Election is November 2026. Okay, so like everybody's liberal basically on the Michigan Supreme Court now. I'll tell you guys a little bit about a couple bills here in 1 second that you might like, and then you might not like, if you want to know the truth. Did I get an email about that postcard? I'm gonna pick someone to send this other postcard to you, because maybe he wasn't watching at the time. Let me check this out real quick, guys. I don't normally like look at my phone while I'm live, but I'm just gonna see if he emailed. Because if he didn't, then I'm gonna give away 2 postcards. If not, I want to give away the other one for sure. All right, let's look at the old 2A email here. I didn't get an email back from him. All right, who else lives in Michigan? I want to give back a little bit from my trip there. I picked up some souvenirs for a couple of you. All right, QD with another super chat. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate you, man. He says, let's point out that at Trump's speech, all of the Democrats stayed seated, looked upset. Yes. And seemed like they hated DJ Daniel becoming a Secret Service agent. I know. Dude, that was so nasty. The kid's been like fighting for his life, his whole life, and like these people have no soul. They can't. How could you literally even have a soul and not even clap or stand up for a kid like that? And the reason why Trump did present him with an honorary badge for the Secret Service is because Trump had become aware of it going viral online that the kid was getting picked on, getting made fun of, whatever, online. Yeah, these people literally have no soul at all. None. They couldn't possibly. I mean, I'm not judging their soul. I don't do that. But I don't understand any way they could. I'll just leave it at that. They hate beautiful moments, and the left should be called out being evil. Absolutely. And that's why we talk about this left, right, red, blue. We talk about gun control. We talk about the governor of Michigan. We talk about all of this. And I always try to remind you guys, just for encouragement. And that's a good reason, right? Look, this has always been a battle of good versus evil. That's what it is right now, and it's what it always will be. And there's many, many evil people in this world. It's true. Look, in Michigan now with the red flags, okay, they can red flag a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old child. Then they come to the house and they take all the guns in the whole entire house. So yes, to answer that question. All right, let me pick Mike Hammond. Will you email me? Would you want one of these postcards? Let me know. You're from Michigan. Who else is from Michigan? Okay, hold on a minute. Yeah, unless your government's stolen. Who? By the government? Yeah, I didn't get an email earlier from the guy that I gave it to. Some people just watch for a few minutes. In his case, left a generous super chat, and then they bounce out. It's all good. I think about you guys when I'm up there, so I grabbed you a couple souvenirs. All right. Who else is in the chat here that All right, so I'm going to go over a couple. I will take a peek at the chat in 1 second. So you're going to see a video pop up on the channel tomorrow. This is going to be Michigan House Bills 4138, 4139, and 4140. Red flag repeal. You're going to see a video with me and the representative who wrote the bill, Jim DeSena. He also wanted me to shout out, which I did last week, but I want to do it again, all of the people who co-sponsored this. These are people we need to encourage and get behind as well on this bill. So introduced by Representative DeSena, Carra. Remember I told you Carra was a good one. DeBoyer, Paquette, Hoadley. I talked to Mike Hoadley in the hall at the Capitol. He's dropping a bill that I think a lot of you will like soon, like is in next week. Harris, Berline, Green, Begole, Regas, Fox, Shriver, Cavett, Markkinen, Wolford, Coons, Green, Johnson, Maddock, Alexander, St. Germain, Thompson, Linting, Smith, Brock, and Martin. And it's been referred to the Committee on Judiciary, which Sarah Leitner runs. And we need to get that into the committee with proper hearings and hopefully get it passed out of committee to the Michigan House floor. Mike, go ahead and send me an email and I will give you one of these postcards. I'm going to put it in here real quick. So Mike Hammond, if you would respond, I will send you one and then I'll pick someone else from the chat in 1 minute. Okay, that should be good for you right there. All right. Hopefully you can see that in the chat. Mike Hoadley is putting forth a bill that has not quite hit the public yet. So like always, we're going to wait before we say it here just because I don't want the other side to know what he's doing till it's public. But he comes up to me in the hall. Well, we kind of passed each other. So we're walking right by and he's like, hey, how's it going? And we said hi to each other and he's like, I'm putting a bill forth that does such and such. I'm like, that's excellent. It's one that I really like. And then I immediately go to my representative. So I jump on the elevator. I go up to the 7th floor to office number 792. Look, how many of you guys have been active enough where you remember your state representative's office number and what floor it's on? I've been there once or twice. So I go up and I'm like, dude, I need you to like co-sponsor this bill no matter what. Like I urge you to, please. And she texted him right from the elevator and said, do I still have time to co-sponsor? And he said, yes, you can co-sponsor Tuesday. So my favorite representative, Jamie Thompson, will be one of the co-sponsors for Representative Hoadley's bill that you guys will like. And it's not public yet. Now, here's one. I'm not going to get into this too much, but some of you that like to maybe do some research and you're a little bit on the nerdy side and maybe you're a lawyer or whatever, you guys can take a look at this and let me know what you think because, man, this is like crazy stuff. Well, thank you, Hopeful Brass Maddox. As Michigan as well, always appreciate the coverage. We cannot allow our rights to be infringed upon. Yeah, we must get as loud as they do. That's what I'm trying to do, man. Jim is awesome as well. His work is truly appreciated. Yeah, he's a fighter, man. He is. And I'm going to, well, speaking of Jim's here, there's going to be Senator. We'll get to that in 1 second. But this is one that's like crazy, but I think, so you guys can look at this later if you want. You can look up Michigan Senate Bill number 111. I'm going to be very brief on this because we've been streaming a while and I'm not a lawyer and I'm just like, this is making my head spin. However, what I believe this is a different type of red flag law. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is literally a different type of red flag law. If somebody can figure this out and wants to, leave me a comment after the stream's over. Michigan Senate Bill number 111. Okay. I did have it first before he did QD. Definitely did. Okay? I definitely had it first. Now, this is like totally weird, man. The people of the state of Michigan enact. I think this is a new red flag where, like, we'll just say, like, by their definition, vulnerable, an elderly person. Okay? I don't really consider 60 to be elderly, but I'm just going to read the paragraph of this, and you guys can decide what this means. I think it's a new version of a red flag law, though, where now all quote-unquote elderly people and disabled people will be able to red flag you. The people of the state of Michigan enact. Don't you love how these always start? Oh, man. The people of the state of Michigan enact. Section 295, 0P, Section 1. An individual who is 60 years of age or older is a vulnerable adult, as defined in Section 174A of the Michigan Penal Code, 1931 Public Act 328, MCL 750174A. Oh, it's not that bad, but or has a developmental disability as defined in Sections 100A of the Mental Health Code, 1974 Public Act 258 MCL 330.1100A. Yeah, you have to know all this to really know what this bill says, but this is what's crazy. May, by commencing an independent action to obtain relief under this article by joining a claim to an action, or by filing a motion in an action in which the petitioner and the respondent are parties, petition the circuit court to enter an elder and vulnerable adult personal protection order. Okay? Now, I skimmed through this. It's like 17 pages long. It talks about ex parte hearings. This just is written like it's a red flag bill. And I'll just get to this one part. Okay. An elder and vulnerable adult personal protection order may restrain or enjoin an individual from doing one or more of the following. Okay, so if they get this order on you, you won't be able to do any of this stuff. Entering, refusing to leave a premise, assault, attacking, beating, molesting, or wounding the petitioner. Yeah, that's bad. Threatening. But look at subsection D there. Purchasing or possessing a firearm. One more time. I'm not prepared to give a complete analysis about this. I'm admitting I'm having a hard time understanding it. However, to a point, once you've seen one of these, you've seen them 1,000 times. This has lots of stuff in here that looks like it's... I mean, look, it's just like all this stuff, like a statement providing the respondent a designated period of time to collect personal belongings from the petitioner's premises. And it's just the way this is worded. I think this is a new version of a red flag law that'll take your guns. It seems that there's probably no due process. I don't want to go too much further because I am not well studied on it. You guys do know I like to be prepared in what I'm talking about, so I wanted to qualify this with, I ain't sure exactly what this is, but I think it's another red flag for the so-called elderly, vulnerable, and mentally disabled. So we'll keep an eye on this. It could pass the Senate. I'm hoping it doesn't go through, and I would hope the Republican-controlled House wouldn't give something like this the time of day. I would hope that. I would hope not. What's happening, Garage Guy? Nice to see you, man. Oh, well, thank you, Hopeful Brassmatic. I appreciate it. Well, I see, technically the judges really don't have a political affiliation, I don't think, Shannon. It's just some tend to be more conservative than others. I believe that's how that works. Oh, man, I hope ammo prices could come down. I did a video where I said, dude, it's a long shot, guys. Like, there's this slim of a chance, but maybe we could get Russian ammo again. And if we can get that, that could drive prices down. I see that as a good thing. I know some people don't. I had some people tell me they didn't want Russian ammo. All right, I'm going to give away these postcards. I'm going to sign them for you guys, and I'll give the other one away in a minute here. See, I got my little 2A EDU sticker. So that way you'll know that this was a gift from 2A EDU when I went to the state capitol. Man, I knocked the... I'll pick you guys up some more swag next time I go there and give some more stuff out next time I go. All right. Did you email me? Let me see here. Yes, I did get an email. Awesome, Mike. All right. Well, I have your info now. My wife will be happy to mail that for you. All right. Real quick here. A couple of you said you lived in Michigan. Who's sponsoring the bill? Robert Chase wants to know. And I saw something you said earlier in a comment, Robert Chase. Yes, I did hear from you earlier that another YouTuber had done a video that said that it was talking about the Michigan red flag laws and said Great Lakes Gun Rights filed a lawsuit. Yes. 2 years ago with Michigan open carry, and I had Brendan Boudreaux on my channel. We did a video talking about that lawsuit. So that was a lawsuit from 2 years ago. It kind of went up and then went down in court. And I think there's a hearing on it again coming up in the beginning of April because I talked to Brendan quite a bit from Great Lakes Gun Rights. So that is something this channel has been aware of for the last 2 years when we did that video talking about that lawsuit. All right. Okay, see, she's being nice now. She's being nice to QD now. Okay, good, good. I thought you would be. I thought you would be. Not because we told her she had to be nice. She was going to be nice anyways. QD just dropped 20 more 2A EDU memberships. Well, thanks, QD. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. We have a lot of channel members in here tonight, don't we? Wow. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. And then thanks again, QD. John Q. Public with another super chat. Thank you, John. He says, are Democrats trying to depopulate Michigan? Well, yeah, they've run a lot of good people out of the state. That's for sure. So if you wanted my short answer on that, yes. No, don't even get me started on all that whole depopulation thing. We could go a long ways with that. All right. I think, yeah, it's been a couple years ago, Robert Chase, for sure, man. I just want to let you know that I definitely knew about that. People ask about good groups to support. I recommend supporting Great Lakes Gun Rights in Michigan. I've been a member for a while. They did file a lawsuit that's still not technically over yet. Are they going to be able to file the big lawsuits? No, they're not a huge group. They're like a statewide group. But they do a lot in the form of petitions. They go to the Capitol and hand like stacks of petitions on behalf of their members to the legislators. I've seen Brendan from Great Lakes Gun Rights do that in real life. He's also like very active in the culture war. He's always on Facebook and Twitter. And so if you guys wanted to know, and I'm not limiting it to just them, there's other good groups. I just wanted to throw it out there. Some people ask, like, man, is there a Michigan gun rights group? Yeah, Great Lakes Gun Rights. I think they're good. I know the guy that runs it. His name's Brendan. And yeah, we've done a couple of videos together and we talk and collaborate on things a lot behind the scenes. Information sharing, strategy. Did you hear about this? No, thank you. Then he's like telling me something. Did you hear about that? Okay, good. I'm on it. You know, that kind of stuff. Hopeful Brassmatic, you're in Michigan, right? If you would like one of these postcards, send me an email. I don't want to just give them to people that left super chats or channel members because this isn't like a pay-to-play channel. So let me know, and I will send one of these out to you. I personalized them to both of you. We got Mike already sent me an email, And if you'll send me an email tonight, I will give it to you. If you don't want to send me an email, well, then I'll give it to somebody else. Do you have that email in the chat? If you have a hard time, let me know and I can type it in there for you. Well, see, here's the thing. It's old, Robert Chase. And look, I'm not blaming any other YouTuber. And that's why I'm not even saying who did it, because it could sound like I'm casting shade. I'm not. This YouTube channel is like way bigger than this one. Obviously, they're a lot better than this channel. But what happens is if they're from other states, they're probably not able to keep their nose to the ground like I am on this stuff, because I'm like super dedicated, if you haven't noticed. So when someone's from another state, they might not know the exact ins and outs. But yeah, he was reporting something like it was new. That's actually like really old, but it's not completely forgotten, because this is literally how crazy lawsuits are. It's 2 years later, and there's still some type of action being taken or hearing or whatever you want to call it, like coming up in April. And this lawsuit was started 2 years ago, like in February of 2023. That's why it costs so much money to file these lawsuits. It's not just like, you go to the court and then the next day they overturn it. So, I don't know. But again, and trust me, I'm purposely not saying the channel's name, Robert. I hope you know, because I don't want to sound like I'm bagging on the guy. I'm not. Huge channel, way bigger than mine, which proves he's a good channel, way smarter than me, all of that. So that's why I don't want to. But yeah, he doesn't probably have as much of a pulse on some of these Michigan things. Okay. That's all I really wanted to say about that. What's up, Bill Alexander? Nice to see you, Bill. Do you guys have any questions before we jump off here? I'm going to jump off in just a minute. I've been enjoying hanging out with you all tonight. Time flies. We've been on almost 2 hours, and I'm going to tell you this other bill that I like. This is real quick. This is nice. So speaking of gems, this is one that was introduced by Senator Lindsey, Jonathan Lindsey, then Senator Outman and Jim Runstead, co-sponsored. And I have a short video with Jim Runstead in my video that I need to post after the one with Representative DeSana. Yeah, I've been to Lansing a lot lately, but there's content literally in the queue for all of you. So you will see Senator Runstead on this channel soon. And this is real quick. Check this out. This is Senate Bill 121. Well, thank you, Nocturnal Nut. I appreciate you, man. All of you guys. Boy, they're being awfully nice tonight in here, aren't they, Jane? All right, Senate Bill 121. This is Michigan Senate Bill 121. The people of the state of Michigan enact. Now, wouldn't this be great if this becomes a law in Michigan? Section 1, as used in this act, person means an individual, partnership, corporation, association, governmental entity, or other legal entity. Section 3, 1, any federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order is unenforceable in this state if this law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order does any of the following. A, impose a tax, levy, fee, or stamp. This would like invalidate the whole NFA, any ATF rule, anything. Impose a tax, levy, fee, or stamp on firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition not common to all other goods and services that might be reasonably be expected to inhibit the purchase or ownership of these items. Requires the registration or tracking of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition. Requires the registration of tracking of the owners of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition. Prohibits the possession, ownership, use, or transfer of a firearm, firearm accessory, or ammunition. Orders the confiscation of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition. Now this is a good bill. This is saying that they will not be, allowed to enforce anything against any of these. All right. Because if you're only listening a little bit, you're like, whoa, they want to ban all. No. This is to stop any, let me read it one more time. Federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order is unenforceable in this state if the law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order does any of the following. So all of this stuff would be unenforceable. All right. Now, here's what's interesting. An employee of this state or an employee of a political subdivision of this state shall not enforce or attempt to enforce any federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order described in subsection 1 in this state. Now, you guys are always like, and I agree with you, I'm one of you guys, right? Like, why don't these people ever get in trouble when they violate the law or violate the Constitution? Well, here we go. An individual who knowingly enforces or attempts to enforce any federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order described in subsection 1 in this state is subject to a fine of $10,000 for each violation. Wow. A political subdivision or a political subdivision of this state shall not knowingly employ an individual who enforced or attempted to enforce any federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, or administrative order described in this subsection. That means they can't be hired by any subdivision of the state. So if a cop does this, they'll never be able to be a cop in the state of Michigan again. That's literally what this says. Now, the political subdivision that violates this subsection is subject to a fine of $10,000 for each violation. Number 5, any person injured under this section may bring an action for injunctive relief in the circuit court of the county in which the violation allegedly occurred. The court shall hold a hearing not later than 30 days after service of the petition. In an action brought under this subsection, the court may award the prevailing party, except for this state or any political subdivision of this state, reasonable attorney fees and court costs. So if you're violated, you get to sue. The court can award the court costs to you, but the state will not get their court costs back. So I know that was kind of wordy, but at the end of the day, this makes it where people can get fined, fired, unhireable if they enforce any form of gun control, ammunition, accessories, whether it's a rule, a regulation, a law, and there's big fines associated with this. So, yeah. What do you guys think the chances will be that this passes? But that's a pretty decent bill, which I definitely like. All right. Let me check my email and see if I got the second email from someone who would like the postcard. Did you need my email address? Let me check here real quick. I got the one from Mike. I didn't get the email from you. Hopeful Brassmatic. Did you send me the email? Here, I'll type it in the chat real quick. All right. All right, there's the email. So 2-way EDU had gifted. Wow, is there anybody who's not a channel member yet? Cutie had gifted 20 channel memberships. Wow. As well as 10 earlier. And a couple super chats. And then it looks like Cutie just gifted 10 more. So thank you, man. Thank you. Who's not a channel member would be the easier question to answer at this point. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Carson Cruz, what's happening? Thank you for the super chat. Says 380 ACP way too expensive. Yeah, typically 40 cents a round. Alpina, posing proud. Yeah, 380. Look, if you're looking for stuff, and this is to help all of you, make sure you check out my locals community because I do post deals on stuff throughout the week that might help you out. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can really say on YouTube here, but I look out for you guys on some of that, which would help save you some money. So yeah. Yeah, man. It's expensive to shoot ammo. Thank you for the super chat. And QD came in one more time with another super chat. Thank you again. Thank you a million times. He says, other than the brag boys, okay, and Cyborg guys, okay, hold on a minute. I talked about Miss CIA. I was talking about the senator from Michigan. So besides all you psyops and whoever else might be watching right now, how many people are listening to this chat that still aren't members? Well, thank you for the super chat. And I'm guessing not really that many anymore aren't channel members, which is nice. Hey, it's all good, Robert Chase. You're doing what you can. And look, it wasn't that Cutie was calling you guys out. What he meant was like, look, man, like he's just gifted a ton of channel memberships, and I think he was just offering a friendly challenge to anybody else that could help support the channel, because he probably wants me to go to Lansing to say hi to the governor of Michigan from him. Nah, he didn't say that. I just made that up. What's happening, Kevin James? Main source of information from Michigan. Wow. Well, thank you. Yeah, Dale knows what I'm talking about. And I do post those deals over on Locals on that stuff, you know? Oh, yeah. All right. Jason Finch, Dr. Salty's laughing out loud. Any last minute questions? I'm going to jump off in just 1 minute here. Yeah, even firearm accessories, right? Let me see if I have a good. I know the times do go fast, don't they? Ain't that the truth? I will try to remember that, Jane. I definitely will. You mentioned it to me before, but I forgot probably. And I need to answer your text on that other party get together that you invited me to. So I will definitely have to get back to you. Ooh, a very special. Hold on a minute. Jane says I have a very special middle finger for the Gretchen next time I cross paths with her. Wow. Wow. Well, that would be special. Be much appreciated, I'm sure. You know? She has this office at the Capitol building. I've took pictures next to the sign on the door. All of that. I've tried to join the governor of Michigan fan club. They wouldn't accept my membership, you know. Dude, I've never even seen her in her office. Like, I literally haven't seen her in her office right here, the Capitol building. I'm going to send these out to two of you. But look, like, I've not seen her. I saw her at the State of the State on stage. I didn't look very long. You don't really like to, I don't like to look at stuff like that. But, like, her office is always literally empty. It literally says the governor of Michigan, and there's this huge office in this big, beautiful antique building. 1870s, this was built. Did you guys see my community post? There's a whole story about it. One of the people asked me about the artwork that's up on like the second to highest level in the rotunda. This is the rotunda, the round portion. And when you go into the Capitol building, you walk around in a circle and you go up the different flights of stairs and or like super old antique elevator that might get you there eventually. And there's like these 8 muses, they're called. 8 muses, women. And there's a story behind it. So I put a link in the person's comment on my community post if someone wants to know. QD, I definitely did not do that, dude. I promise you I didn't do that. So maybe it's YouTube. Maybe it was YouTube. I promise you I did not do that. Like literally, man. QD sent me a message. I did not do that. Is all I will tell you. Like, no matter what, I did not do that. Just so you guys know, QD sent me a message and was like, dude, like, and trust me, man, I promise you, I did not do that. Like, literally. Just so you guys know, we are on YouTube. Look, I love being here because of all of you. But they have algorithms. They have moderation. They have filters. YouTube often does stuff to comments, to chats. Totally out of my control. I can promise you guys, I have not done anything to anybody's chats. I do not even moderate my channel. I'm personally just reading the chat and having a good time. So, and that sucks because, like, yeah, I would not mess with QD. You're like the last person I'd mess with, man. Trust me. So, Beta Bucks Deluxe with the super sticker. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the generosity tonight. And yeah, man, it's just like, it's tough. And here's the crazy part too. YouTube will literally hold a content creator now responsible for stuff that goes on in their chats or their comment sections. That's against like their rules, that you kind of get a loose outline of what they are, but you literally don't know. So yeah. So I promise you, Cutie, you did not get me mad at all tonight. And you're welcome. I'm looking at your super sticker over here in this other window. Beta Bucks Deluxe. Thank you. Yeah, so there's like a 6-year-old made a wild comment about being able to get their hands on their parents' guns. So the entire house was disarmed, regardless if the guns were locked up or not. Derek Cooper says, yeah, that's true. Like, that's the thing that's crazy. The one parent, watch my video from earlier, guys. I literally went through the whole article with my commentary on it. The one, they're like, but the guns are locked up. The child can't get to the guns. They're like, we don't care. We want them anyways. Wow, isn't that crazy? Wow. Thanks, QD. Something happened to QD in the chat, just so you guys know. I don't know how, not by me. And he says, I still love you, man. And I know. I feel terrible, dude. I like reading your chats and all of your chats. I've been seeing you in here all night tonight. Derek Cooper says, QD is the GOAT. I agree. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Yeah, I mean, no, he's a good guy, man. Me and QD have hung out in real life before and on the internet and whatnot. He's a real person, and his first name is Quality, and his last name is Dude. Isn't that what Fun to Learn said earlier? All right. Well, I'm just checking one last time here to see if I had any questions that came in. And if I did, okay. All right. All right. Last call for questions. And Robert Chase says, you've been having a great night. Dude, I always have a great time hanging out with all of you, for real. And QD probably wasn't expecting the that's not, it's kind of like a joke, because I was like, does QD like this one or the other one? No, he likes neither, obviously. But this is actually a pretty fun book to read, so I wanted to pick that up for him. It was one of those things where, like, a little bit it was like a troll, but it was actually a heartfelt gift too at the same time, right? You know what, Robert Chase? You might be onto something for that, actually. Would YouTube be that sinister? You wouldn't believe how sinister things can get. Now, I noticed earlier I posted that that video talking about how draconian this red flag stuff's really become. Like, the whole house gets flagged and confiscated over a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, like whatever, right? And I watched, like, it was just starting to pick up with some views. And then all of a sudden, bam, the YouTube algorithm just kicks in, and it's just like, bzz. I want as many people to know what's going on as possible when it comes to this. Because then I'm going to put up the video tomorrow with Representative Jim DeSena, where you can hear him himself, you know, the representative, talk about why he put his bill in. I just wanted you all to know, though, how bad it truly was, so you can understand how important it is to try to get some progress and keep this stuff moving forward to repeal this crap. because it definitely is a bunch of crap. All right. Well, I have had a great time tonight, too. Glad to see you guys enjoyed yourself. Man, what a good chat tonight, though, for real. I look forward to looking at all of it because I probably missed 90% of it earlier when I was talking more. And I will definitely catch up on that throughout the weekend. And if there's anybody still watching on the replay crew right now, shout out to you as well. Is there? I bet you there might be one person that watches it to the end on replay. If there is, let me know in the comments and I will give you an extra big shout out. Yeah, Jason says, I don't think anyone wants to say hi to the Gretch. I agree. I don't think anybody does. That's why I'm like, man, my boy QD, it's kind of like I'm trolling him a little bit. It's a nuanced thing, and he gets it. He's a smart man, trust me. I'm just kind of like, it's kind of like a nuanced thing where I'm trolling him like a bit. Like, here, QD, I'm going to send this to you, right? But I'm actually not trolling him because Steve Carra actually wrote a pretty good little book, and I think it's cool that he's calling her out. So it's one of those things. And here you go. We're going to end on a lovely note here because I get the chat back on replay, Jane Locke. It takes a little while after it renders, but it'll be back on again. Trust me, I'll work my magic behind the scene. You guys know what I have to do that, right? I have to remember it used to be that I had to bribe Susan Wiki with flowers. Now I basically have to bribe the ghost of Susan Wiki with flowers, and then I'll get access to that chat. Okay, here we go. We have good news to end the night. I'm pleased to read this, and it comes as no surprise that QD is the man and no couch for him. So with that, I will see you all again soon. All right, thanks for watching. And have a good one. So like some kind of messed up Autobot kicks him out of my chat. And then, but at least he's not sleeping on the couch. So all is well that ends well, good sir. Good night, guys.